What can you do to make it near effortless to achieve all the abundance and the prosperity that you desire to achieve both in your life and in your business? Give that some quick thought. I'll be back in a second with my answer. So what can you do? What can you do to achieve all the abundance and prosperity that you want to achieve in both your life and in your business? I want to encourage you to think about it this way. What if I had the power to grant you one wish for anything, for any skill that you would want to have inside of your business? What would your one wish be? I think we can make the strong argument that the most effective one wish that you could ask for is the wish of influence. You see, I believe that influence is the magic key that unlocks your door into a world of endless and limitless prosperity and abundance. Now, why is influence so valuable in your business? Well, it's because when you stop to think about it, everything, and I really do mean everything, rises and falls on influence. In fact, influence is what ultimately leads to effective leadership. Right? And we all know as entrepreneurs that if we're going to get anything done, if we're going to inspire anyone to get behind us, to help us go out into the world and to share our vision with the world and to create impact in the world, if we're going to do that effectively, we all know that we must have leadership ability. And that's where influence comes from. Now, the one thing I want you to understand about leadership is that leadership can never be mandated. Okay, leadership must always be earned. In fact, John Maxwell talks about this topic in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, when he says that having a title in your business does not mean having leadership. Okay, so John Maxwell warns us not to confuse titles with leadership. In fact, he goes on to argue that what titles really do is titles buy you some time so that you can either increase your influence or undermine your influence. One of my most prominent experiences with this idea that titles don't equal influence is the experience I had when I was an officer in the United States Air Force. And there were several occasions where I was working with a group of officers, and there was an officer that was in charge, right, that had the title of being in charge because they were the highest ranking officer. And there were times during those experiences in the military where these officers were getting their title mixed up with leadership. And it caused a lot of tension. And I'm sure you've probably been in these situations as well in corporate America or whatever experiences you've had, where just because someone has a title over you does not mean they're a leader. Okay, so don't confuse your title with leadership. Now, let's transition here and let's talk about how this correlates to being an entrepreneur. And one of the most prominent examples I can offer you comes from the network marketing industry, because I've spent over 17 years now inside of the network marketing industry. And I got to tell you, this idea that titles do not equal leadership applies very well in this industry, because when you think about it, one thing that we're trying to do in our network marketing businesses is we're looking to recruit people, right? To bring them onto our team. And what happens when you recruit someone onto your team? Well, you become their upline sponsor, right? That's your title. You become the upline sponsor for your recruit. And what's important to understand is that being an upline sponsor is simply a title. What you really want to develop with that person is your influence, right? Because your influence is what's going to empower your new recruit to take action and to start creating results, and that's going to be good for everyone. Now, it's really difficult to go research the network marketing industry and not stumble across somebody talking about how 97% of people fail inside of the network marketing industry. I see this statistic all over the place. And while that statistic might be true, what I'd like to do is challenge your thinking around what is it that separates the 3% from the 97%? Why do the 3% succeed when the 97% fail? My answer to that question is influence, right? The 3% have influence but the 97% don't. So it's not that the network marketing business model doesn't work, or that it's not a good business model, or that there's not opportunity to create abundance and prosperity using that business model. In fact, quite the opposite. I believe, having been in entrepreneurship for 17 years, where I've been in the network marketing business model, I've been in the affiliate marketing business model, I've been in the business model where my company's gone out and worked with small business owners, brick and mortar business owners, local business owners like doctors and dentists and orthopedic surgeons, etc. And what I can tell you, having experienced the major business models out there, there's not a more effective business model for the total new person into the entrepreneur game to leverage than the network marketing business model. Very, very powerful and effective business model. But here's the key: you've got to have influence. Okay, you've got to have influence. Now, here's the challenge at the same time. What do you do when you are new to the industry, when you're new to starting a business and you don't have any influence? What do you do? This is a very real challenge that we all face. And so what I want to do is I want to offer you my number one strategy for building influence. Okay, and my number one strategy for doing that is to borrow influence. To borrow influence. This is a strategy that I actually learned from Barbara Cochran, who's the real estate mogul. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, she's the female on Shark Tank, just a powerful, powerful woman entrepreneur. And I remember reading a story on her years ago where she talked about one of the best things you can do when you're getting started in anything is to go borrow influence. Okay, so this is what you're going to want to focus on. You're going to want to focus on borrowing influence from one of those 3%ers. Okay, so how do you do that effectively? Here's my best advice for you. First, you got to go do your research, right? So after you watch this video, set aside some time to go out on the internet and just start doing some research. Start to find people that you perceive as influencers. People who have the ability to go into a market and influence people to make buying decisions. Okay, so come up with your list. And then what you want to look for is an influencer who is holding an online workshop, an online webinar, right? Now, the reason I encourage you to look for an influencer that's holding online webinars is because it makes this process more streamlined for you. Because you can just go sign up for that influencer's webinar. You can get on the webinar, say tonight, if it was happening tonight, and you can do your research on them. You can pay attention to how they're leading their workshop. Are they somebody who commands attention from you as the viewer? Are they somebody who sounds like they have a command of their wisdom, right? Wisdom meaning they've got both knowledge and experience that they're bringing to the online webinar for you to experience. Do they have wisdom? You see, there's a lot of people out in the world who have knowledge, right? A lot of people have knowledge. There's fewer people who have the experience to go with the knowledge, which gives them the wisdom. And you really want to be working with an influencer that has wisdom, right? Because that influencer is going to be able to position you to go out and create success by leveraging their influence out in the marketplace, right? And an influencer with wisdom is going to know exactly how to do that. So I want to encourage you just to protect your time by finding an influencer who's doing an online webinar so that you can sign up for the webinar and you can pay attention to discern their level of wisdom, number one. And then what I also want to encourage you to do is ask questions, right? Get involved in the workshop. Remember, this is your legacy we're talking about. This is your business. This is the influencer that you're going to borrow influence from and to position yourself out in the marketplace. Okay, so it's really important that you get engaged in this interview process, so to speak, that you're doing with this influencer, okay? And so let me give you 2 questions that I believe would be really valuable questions for you to ask when you're on this workshop, okay? So question number 1 is this. You want to jump out on the workshop and you want to ask the influencer, why should I do business with you versus doing business with one of your competitors versus doing nothing at all? Okay, very, very powerful question. Why should I do business with you versus doing business with one of your competitors versus doing nothing at all? Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to sit back and you just want to pay attention to how this influencer is responding to your question. You know, do you throw them off guard? Do you get them all flustered? Do they stumble through an answer? Or do they come in with confidence and with conviction? And do they do they use their influence to influence you to believe that they have a lot of value to offer you inside of that answer? Okay, so that's question number one. And then the second question you want to ask is, who is mentoring them, right? It's really, really important you understand when you're working with somebody, who is their mentor, right? Because you want to be working with someone who values mentorship, right? Somebody who is being poured into by other people who are smarter and more experienced than them, right? That's a very positive sign that the influencer that you're researching really, really values the idea that one is too small a number to achieve greatness, okay? You don't want to, I don't believe you want to get aligned into a business venture with somebody who believes they can make it all happen on their own, okay? That's a very arrogant, prideful, egotistical position to live in as a business owner, I believe, okay? So you just want to ask them, hey, I'm curious, who's your mentor or mentors? Who's pouring into you to help you develop your influence out in the marketplace? All right, so here's my action step for you leaving this training today, my friend. I want to encourage you to take some time to go do your research, find 5 to 10 influencers that you can go get on their online workshops. And you can, in a sense, vet them. Ask them all these 2 questions. You can throw in other questions that you have as well, but those are 2 very powerful questions I believe are going to really serve you. So ask the questions, and then the key is you got to take action, right? Nothing good can happen in your business, my friend, until you take action. Okay, so do your research, get on the online workshops, ask those 2 questions at the very least, and then go take action. Go take action. You know, you may even want to ask the influencer, hey, you know, one thing I really am looking for is somebody whose influence I can borrow, right? Because I'm new to entrepreneurship and I'm looking for a path to run on. And what I've learned from my studies is that the ability to borrow influence is going to be one of the biggest levers that I can pull in my business to start having fast success, okay? You might ask that question, see how they answer that. A very wise influencer will resonate very quickly with what you're saying, and you'll be able to establish some quick rapport with them, which is a good thing. Okay, so maybe throw that down as question number 3, all right? That's all I got, my friends. The magic key to unlock your door of prosperity and abundance. The magic key is influence. Everything rises and falls on influence. Oh, hey, listen, before I let you go, if you're someone who gets excited about the opportunity to, lock arms with an extraordinary group of influencers, people who have aligned in the gap of life together, to live our adventures, to write our stories, and to rescue our dreams together, if the idea of that is exciting to you, what I want to encourage you to do is come participate in one of our online workshops, right? If you'd like to check us out and see if the Extraordinary Society is a place that you'd like to call home as you're developing the skills to build a multiple 6-figure business right here on the internet. That's our passion, it's our skill set, it's what we're teaching our students right now as you're watching this video. If that gets you excited, hey, I want to encourage you to click on the link wherever it is around this video. Come check us out, and let's see if we might have some synergy together where you can come work with us and we can let you borrow our influence to go out into the world and to create some really exciting results for you in your business and in your life. All right, my friend, click on that link wherever it is, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.